Dall-E 3 has only been out for a few short weeks and it's already completely changed the game when it comes to print on demand, because it's able to quickly make amazing designs with an insane level of detail that we can then sell on t-shirts, mugs, canvases, any kind of print on demand product we want. And this is really important for you to learn, because if you have any interest in starting a print on demand business, this is going to be the future of print on demand. And it can either be a really great thing or it can be something that causes us to get left in the dust. Today, I'm going to be sharing with you my top 10 favorite Dall-E prompts for print on demand products after about 100 hours of using it. And you can grab all these prompts that I'm about to show you completely free just by clicking the link down below, and you can copy and paste them to try them out for yourself, so that you'll be able to take these prompts and immediately apply them to your own products for your own store, whether you're selling on Etsy, Amazon, or through your own Shopify store. And then at the end of the video, I'm going to share with you an infinite prompt hack that I figured out so that you never have to worry about running out of design ideas ever again. Alright, so first up we have a hyper-realistic depiction of a raging dragon in 3D. Its eyes filled with wrath and fire spewing from its mouth, centered and isolated against a white background. Dark fantasy motifs enhance its terrifying demeanor, and watercolor splashes and contrasting color swirl around the creature, amplifying its sense of chaos. Look how cool this design is. Now, obviously, there's a ton of detail here, not just in the image, but in the prompt itself. And I'm going to show you at the end of the video how we can get to this level of detail extremely easily. So stay tuned for that. But in the meantime, just enjoy the prompts. But what I personally love is the colors and the contrast between just the fire coming out of his mouth and how it transitions into the colorful smoke. I think this is amazing. I'm just picturing this on a t-shirt in a Facebook ad or on an Etsy store. Like, this thing is 100% a scroll stopper if I've ever seen one. Next up, we have Design 2, which is a butterfly in elegant gold typography with cool decorations, diamonds, and black, red, white, silver, and gold smokes, with a golden crystal shining butterfly with a shining flash and lightings, party lights on the side, cinematic, vibrant, 3D render, fashion, illustration, anime. Again, a ton of detail, but look at how amazing this design is. This would stand out not just on t-shirts, but on a phone case or on canvases, mouse pads. There's a lot of really cool places you could put this design. Then obviously, if you're putting it on a t-shirt, you could easily put this into a background remover. Like I use Clip Drop. The background remover works extremely well, and it would remove everything outside. The diamonds, the butterfly, and the smoke would all be gone. Next up, we have design number 3, which is a 3D rendering of a furious phoenix, centered and isolated on a pristine white background. I'll let you read the rest of the details, but I love this design, especially for the fiery and flamey colors. And again, this is another hyper-realistic, extremely detailed design, but these are my personal favorites that I think would do extremely well on t-shirt designs. And part of the reason that this one stands out to me is the level of contrast, and the level of detail here is astounding, and you can see some of the similar colored clouds peeking out that we saw in the dragon design, which we're going to learn more about that in a second. And these came from a very similar initial workflow that I'm going to show you at the end of the video. But this one's really awesome. I personally would wear something like that. But if you're wondering, like, okay, these are a little too detailed, I can't picture myself wearing that on a shirt, here's another very simple, classic Christmas design, which is design number 4, a vintage Christmas illustration vector t-shirt graphic of Frosty the Snowman with text "Merry Christmas." So this is a classic, like tried and true, that the good thing is not just with Frosty, but you can take that out of the prompt and replace it with any kind of winter or like holiday creature, and it still looks really good, and it would still make a lot of sense. Like, you could replace that with Rudolph, Santa Claus, the elves, like anything you want. But yeah, I like this one a lot because it's vintage, and while this one is a lot more basic than the ones we were just looking at, it would go really well on like a Christmas sweater or a crew neck design, which those sales always pick up really well for us around November, December, and January. For design 5, we're taking a break from the print-on-demand t-shirt style designs and going with something that's equally as useful for your print-on-demand business, and that is a logo generation design. And this is a prompt formula that's worked extremely well to create beautiful, simple designs like this one. So the prompt is a type of logo in brackets, logo of a, in brackets again, logo subject, the text, brand name, and then position of text in relation to the logo. So it created a super simple cloud sync logo. I told it to just come up with a random company, but here I'll show you an example in ChatGPT. So if we paste that and then I say, use this prompt formula to make a logo for vacay threads, a vacation themed print on demand apparel brand. It's creating the image, and what it's doing is I give it the prompt formula with all the different variables in it, and then I just, in plain text below it, tell it what I wanted to do with that formula. Here, and then it made us this perfectly simple vacay threads logo. Obviously it messed up in the design a little bit here, but we can easily fix that in Photopea or Canva. But pretty cool overall. There's a lot of different use cases for that. Design 6, back on our theme of insanely intricate, amazing designs. We have a raised lion made of intricate swirls, illuminated by thin glowing smoke in various colors, positioned alongside a hyper-realistic 3D rendering of an enraged and violent lion surrounded by water splash. So a whole lot going on in that prompt, but look at how amazing this design is. This is something that I think would go better on like a canvas or something that would get hung on the wall, but it was just too good not to include it. And then something else that I highly recommend checking out is this new upscaler called Magnific.ai. And if I put that same image into Magnific to upscale it, look at how it turns out. It adds so much new detail, like even down, look at the fur around the lion's eye, and then the hair, and then the color splatters around it. Look at all the new details that it added in there. So Magnific is this brand new upscaler that honestly feels just like magic, hence the name, but you can run any design or generation you have from Dall-E through this, and it just turns it into a completely new work of art. For design 7, we have an artistic vector representation of an eagle in flight, its wings capturing the essence of freedom using a double exposure method. This design is one of my favorites because of how it's able to overlay an eagle with the mountain and nature landscape. This is a style that's worked extremely well on our print-on-demand sites because it's able to combine multiple interests that people may have in a way that feels uniquely them. And that gets people to stop scrolling and really strikes them as something unique that they haven't seen before. And the good thing is that now you have this prompt, and I'm about to show you how you can use this for any niche or topic in just a second. And then again, to show you what it does in Magnific, here's the before and after. Just adds a crazy level of detail, like looking at the mountain peaks, all the additional detail. Like, it was amazing to begin with, but then adding in all these additional details is just truly incredible. All right, design 8 is an extremely simple prompt, but works extremely well, and that is vacation themed graphic t-shirt design. Now, obviously, you can swap out vacation theme with anything else, any niche, but I love how simple and yet striking this design is. But the reason that this is one of my favorite, my top 10 prompts, is the diversity that you can get out of a prompt that's this simple, which can be a good thing and a bad thing. I'll show you how to wield it to your advantage in a moment, but I love this design because it really captures a lot of the popular aspects of our best-selling designs. Number one, that it's contoured. It's like circular. Number two, it uses striking colors that really stand out. Number three, it's not just a solid design. It has a lot of negative space within it, like in the palm trees and the leaves, that will make it print really well on a t-shirt, because when we go to remove the background, it's going to remove all of this stuff in here. It's not going to just feel like a heavy block of print on the shirt. It's going to feel like something that's more dynamic and more flexible, and it also improves the lifespan of the print on the shirt. Now, obviously, it messed up slightly in the text down here, but this is extremely easy to fix in Canva. Or you could even just resubmit this to Dall-E and ask it to fix it yourself. Number 9, we have something I thought was pretty clever that Dall-E came up with, and this was a vector design set against a pitch black background depicting a white contour outline of Sir Isaac Newton under his iconic apple tree with modern tech. And so I thought this was really clever because it came up with Isaac Newton sitting under a tree and was able to identify the humor of overlaying the Apple logo along with it. Now, this one, you might not want to run ads for it or sell it because it does have Apple's logo in it. You probably don't, but I still thought it was pretty clever nonetheless. Number 10, this was a prompt that I saw somebody use on Ideogram that I thought that just the way that it was written was hilarious, and I was like, what the heck? Let's see what Dall-E comes up with from this. And I was blown away. So the prompt is colorful paint splash, glitter stars, and beautiful rose so 3D black fantasy painting 3D render. Oh my God, that prompt is all over the place, but look at what it came up with. Like, it is just mind-blowing. No pun intended, because it looks like the rose is blowing up. But it came up with this celestial, extremely colorful paint splatter style design with a rose mixed in the middle. So those are my top 10 prompts. But now what I want to talk about before we wrap up the video is what is the strategy that I alluded to earlier that allows us to create infinite prompts or infinite design ideas. Because to be honest, as great as all of these designs are, the one big problem with it, especially when it comes to print on demand, is that you need not just 10, you need 100 or 200 or 300 designs, and that takes a lot of time in order to generate those. That's why what I want to show you is something called prompt formulas. We looked at it briefly earlier with the logo example, but I want to show you something really cool, and that is how you can turn any of these prompts into a formula filled with variables that you can then use on any kind of niche or any kind of topic. So if we try this eagle double exposure prompt, the one that turned out really cool, like this. Now we take this and say that we have a vacation themed brand, and I'm like, I really like this design, but obviously it doesn't really fit my niche. Now what you could do is in ChatGPT, try to go, if I want to do vacation, do like artistic representation of a beach. It's sand, capturing the essence of relaxation. Using a double exposure method, the beach's peaks and valleys are intricately woven. The palm trees evoking a sense of unity with nature. So let's try this. That was just my janky attempt at replacing the variables. So there we go. That's what it came up with. And it's not too bad. It's definitely nowhere near as good as the eagle that we had. But that would be the manual way of doing it. What I want to show you is what happens if we paste the whole prompt and then we say, turn this prompt into a formula with variables to reuse in the future. And now what it's going to do is it's reading our original prompt here, and then it's going to turn it into a formula by replacing any of the defining characteristics. So by telling it to turn this prompt into a formula that had variables so we can reuse it in the future, it sometimes writes it in CSS, which is code, which doesn't really matter. It just gets a little confused. But what we can do is first make sure that it accurately replaces all of the variables. Representation of subject is the defining feature capturing the essence of desired quality, blah, 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 are intricately interwoven with evoking a sense of. So the only thing in here that still needed to be turned into a variable is nature. Like, nature is still very specific to the original design. We wanted to change that. So I just told it, write it in plain text and replace nature at the end with a variable as well. Still didn't do it in plain text, but it did replace nature. And then it even gave us an example of how we can reuse the prompt. Use this prompt formula to come up with a beach themed design. So it's showing us what it's going to generate. It's going to use an artistic style of watercolor with a sea turtle, defining feature of a shell, desired quality, serenity, technique. So putting it all together, I say, great, generate. Now, one thing to note here is that it replaced the defining part of our original prompt was that it was double exposure. That was the art that did like the eagle and the nature overlaid style. And it seems like it might have, yeah, it got rid of the double exposure. So if we really like that part of it, we can add that back in as the technique. But this, wow, look at this. So it still kept the general concept of overlay, like double exposure, and made this amazing sea turtle pattern. Now, we could sit there and talk about that for hours, but instead, I'm going to show you one last thing before we wrap up. I'm going to give it feedback. Amazing. I really like that. Now, make 20 more prompts like that. Use a wide variety of ideas / concepts all related to our beach theme. Now it's going to come up with 20 different prompts that it's not going to generate all of the images, but what it will do is give us the prompts, and then we can pick and choose which ones we want it to generate. And I can just simply copy and paste each of these and they'll be generated for me. So there you have it. Those are my top 10 favorite print-on-demand Dall-E prompts, along with my favorite workflow for generating an unlimited number of designs extremely quickly. Honestly, the only limit is as quick as ChatGPT can get back to you, which is exactly why we're developing a software to streamline this entire process down to basically the click of a button. You basically just enter your brand name and then it generates all the designs you could possibly ever want. You just pick and choose through them, upvote the ones you like, downvote the ones you don't. It's going to be cool. Click the link below if you want to check that out. But I also have all of the prompts that we covered in this video down in the description down below, so you can get that for free. So be sure to check that out. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comment section down below, and let me know what content you want me to see doing next. And thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.